Little Red Riding Hood, Cinderella, Jack and the Beanstalk all mashed together into one musical. And for this week's In Focus, Jamil Donis shows us how Walker students have reenacted the famous Broadway musical Into the Woods.
Most recognize these songs from famous fairy tales, but they are rarely together on the same stage.
To the woods to get the thing that makes it worth the journey.
Unless you have wandered into the woods.
We've never really done anything like this in the plays I've been. It's always been the usual.
Students in Walker performed the famous musical mashup Into the Woods, which is a combination of classic fairy tales with a comedic twist.
He's been crushed by the giant.
Well, then there's nothing any of us can do about that now, is there?
It deals with characters that everyone knows already: Cinderella, Little Red, the Big Bad Wolf. We have a witch, a baker, just standard fairy tale characters, but it's just reimagined and recomposed.
For those who know theater, Into the Woods is a big name on the Broadway stage, but most of these students had never heard of it until they were handed the script.
I thought that they made it up, and then when we got the script, it said Junior Broadway. I'm like, this is a Broadway show.
It was kind of new, and none of us were really quite sure about it before we started it, and then we got into it and we're like, yeah, this is kind of fun, you know.
While an ambitious pick for a small school like Walker, director Stuart Wilson thought the classic would be the perfect challenge.
We have to pick something where we want to challenge the kids for education, but we also want to have something that we haven't done.
The original Broadway performance is 3 hours long, but because rehearsals started late here at the Walker School and a lot of the students have never really performed this before, they decided to cut it down to an hour-and-a-half show.
It's a Stephen Sondheim piece, and it's incredibly difficult to perform, put together, to perfect, and to stage.
Once upon a time.
Musically, Into the Woods is both a challenge to perform and teach. Musical director Sutton Stewart says the piece is difficult compared to other musicals.
It's not readily harmonic. You can't necessarily hear the melody out of the chords. If you just heard the accompaniment, it's difficult to hear the melody. And it's not the kind of musical where every song will be one that you walk away singing afterwards.
Aside from the songs, there's the ever-changing storyline and complex costumes. But despite the chaos, these kids never seemed fazed by the twists and turns of this forest of fables.
I like the idea of kind of putting a twist on everything and making everything tie together.
And leading into their fourth and final performance, the cast and crew didn't have any mixed feelings about their success.
I think it's gone very well, yeah. We're pleasantly surprised.
Basically, every audience has laughed at everything that we've done.
To start off late and then just to pull this all together, it's been fantastic.
So while it would be easy to get lost into the woods, everyone seemed to find their way in the end. For this week's In Focus, Jamil Donis, Lakeland News.
If you've enjoyed this segment of Lakeland News, please consider making a tax-deductible contribution to Lakeland Public Television.